Yeah, so yeah, it's one of these. Another Ozark Trail. But this is like the Ozark Trail, right? It's supposed to be the bug out killer. This was sent over to us along with some freaky stickers from our channel friend Todd. Todd, thanks, man. I appreciate you so much. He sent this over and and then ultimately said that we can do what we want with it as a channel. So we'll probably do a giveaway on it. But man, let's check it in. How about that? Let's get it out of this box. Where is my, where, oh, where? My Echo. I love my Echo, man. I'm still considering upgrading, getting the S90B, you know, the bad boy. Like, not so much for the channel, but for me, right? My collection. All right. I love the bubble pack. When they come in a bubble pack, if it turns out decent, it's a win, right? Okay. I mean, I'm going to have to get a bug out. Okay. So I did an Ozark Mountain on the channel not too long ago, and it was on washers, and it was kind of a, I mean, it didn't even qualify for gas station knife title, right? Like it was bad. Um, I mean, I think I gave it to somebody um, in a extra giveaway. I don't know what I did with it, but yeah, it's got a little wiggle in it. Let's take care of that. Let's get rid of this. I do think I want to do a side-by-side on a bug out. I don't do a lot of side-by-sides, but, well, that was really loose. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's locked up tight as can be. I mean, I'm going to have to put a bug out next to it. I'm going to have to. Like, there's no way that I can not. Do I just leave the bubble pack over there? I think so. All right, let me get the bug out. Okay, so here's a bug out. This is what a bug out looks like. This one's tuned up right. And of course, it's on washers. Yeah, locks up tight. Okay, so I mean, grip wise, it's pretty similar. Blade shape, pretty similar, right? Not a lot of differences there. One of the differences that I saw though, or that I noticed, is a bug out is a really thin piece. And this is not. But this has full steel liners in it. Where the bug out does not. The bug out has smaller liners up here, but no liners back here. So it does create a much thinner profile. Now, this right here is definitely janky. Compared to this. You know, one of the things that people talk about with these is that, you know, you can get these scales to flex. And with this one, these steel liners, this knife's not going to flex. The grip on this has got good texture here. And a bug out is really comfortable in hand. It's got great jimping that's provided here with these liners, this steel liner in here. And so, you know, that's a confident grip, man. I mean, wonderful. Nice, thin, slicey blade. S30V. I'm pretty sure this is 8CR, 7CR maybe. when they don't say, you have to assume that, well, it says it's D2. Yeah, sure enough, it says right on the bubble pack. And if it says it on a bubble pack, it's got to be true. Yeah, D2 on this one. I mean, there's some play in here, but to be honest, I think if I really crank on this, I could find a little bit of play on a Bugout as well. The texture on this is really grippy. It's similar to there's a Ganzo that's a dagger, and the scales on it have a rough texture. And the way I described that scale was if you've ever touched a fiberglass antenna, like on a boat or something, after it's been in the sun for a long time, it's like so rough. It almost feels like it's going to splinter, like those antennas will splinter, and you end up with little fiberglass splinters in your hand. So you got to be careful around them. But this feels rough like that. Yeah. I mean, in a good way, I guess, on this. Kind of shoots out. There we go. Can slow roll it. I mean, yeah. I there's enough differences. I would say I definitely can tell, weight wise, they're pretty close. But I can definitely tell that the bug out is maybe a higher quality piece. Yeah, this feels like this action right here. I can tell that, this is a inexpensive knife just by that action right there. It's like a weak spring or something in there. Not sure. Man, let's get in it. Let's look at it. Let's see what's up. I'm not scared. You scared? I've been scared plenty in my life, man. Try not to let it freeze me in my tracks, right? Gotta go forward, man. But I could tell you, sometimes I've had to retreat before I could go forward. Sometimes you're outnumbered, sometimes you got to get your head squared away with the objective, and so it's better to retreat, regroup, than to just rush forward without a game plan, without any sense. Increase the odds for victory, right? All these screws look to be the same. Pocket clip and the scale screws. All four of those look to be the same screw. All right, we should be able to get that scale up. Yeah. I mean, it's got some oily stuff going on here. It's not adjustable. Does have dual springs. I mean, I guess I could put some tension on them. And then, I don't know, but I start to feel like maybe I'm looking at bearings. Surely it would say if it was on bearings. So I'm going to guess not. But what the heck? Let's look. I always like digging into these. Might put a little tension on these. I don't want to break them, but maybe I'll put a little tension on it, put a little stank on it. Where's my separating tool? Here we go. Ooh, I gotta get that out of my way. I could be wrong, but boy, that liner feels flimsy. I think I might have to drop that other scale to get that off. Yeah. Let's do it. Let me try prying on it. So I'd rather not take that other side off if I don't have to. If I can get this to pry up off of that pin, I think that's what's holding us is the pin. That's a detent pin. Maybe it'll fall out if I go like this. Yep, there it is. Come on, man. Come on, man. I mean, that thing is super free in there. I think it's going to force me. I hope these come loose. Let's try. Well, that's one. Bingo. It's a bingo. There's a reference for one of you. Come on, man. Somebody pick it up. Oh, come on. Serious? You. Bro. Come on, man. I'm going to have to grab that with the pliers. It's not captured at all. If I can stay on the edge, you probably, won't be able to see that I've gripped it. I got to stay right there, though. It's like surgery, using a butter knife as a scalpel. There we go. All right. No damage, no foul. Okay. Now, I should be able to get that pivot pushed down out of my way. Like so. It is on bearings. Look at that. Little tiny bearings. I thought so. It was running awful good. Pull this other spring. Yeah, man. Come on. So there's an upgrade. Went from washers to bearings. All right. I won't need this anymore. Let's make sure that's up out of our way. And we don't need the pliers. Come on, man. It's on bearings. How about it? Little tiny bearings. A little steel roller bearings or cage bearings. Well, let's clean it up and then we'll get it reassembled. I think I'm going to put a little tension on the springs. Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, the scales are injected scales, but they manufactured them in a way that they're skeletonized to reduce weight. That's like I say, I think they weighed about the same. These steel liners are not super thick. I mean, they're actually fairly flexible, but they're thick enough that they definitely provide some rigidity to this piece. Nice coated blade. Pretty cool. Let's clean them bearings. Let's get this scale here. Bearings. Yeah, tiny little bearings. Come on. I can't even pick them up. All right. Well, let's put a little tension on these springs. And the way to do that is we want to expand them a little bit. And so, I mean, here's the right way to do it. Okay. You take a piece of paper and you mark the spring on the piece of paper. Okay? Because what I'm looking to do is I'm going to change the width of that. Now, I normally like to do this with a pencil, but I couldn't find my pencil because ink gets messy. So that spring's marked. Now I'm going to mark this spring. I don't know why I'm explaining obvious. Idiot. All right, so all I'm going to do now, I've got my reference. That spring fits in there. I'm going to stretch this out a little bit. And ooh, is that a flimsy spring? It is flimsy. All right, so do you see the difference now? I've added quite a bit to that spring. Let me do this one. That might be more than I wanted to do, but it is very flimsy. I mean, they look about even now as far as the difference. So I'm going to just go with that. So that's going to create some extra tension on those springs. Hopefully, there's some packing material. Let me throw that over into the packing. Hopefully, it's not too much and it causes them to snap. I don't know. If you're asking me if I know if it's going to do that, I do not know. So I can. Is this captured? It looks like it is captured. Okay. There we go. I am going to put these two screws and these barrels back on. There we go. Hold on. A little bit ahead of myself. I've got to put the spring on before I can do that. And then I'm going to put that on. So, put that in place. And then we're just going to lock that spring into the hole. So now that spring's, it's assembled and ready to go. So I can put the scale over the top of it and it'll kind of lock all that down. See, this side's locked in now. This side can't come off now. I'm going to wait on that pivot. I'm going to go ahead and put this barrel spacer on. I'm not going to get it super tight. I'm just going to get it on there. Get it threaded, and then we'll get the other one. There we go. I think that's the one I'm going to have to hold. And the other one is missing. Sure enough. Come on, man. Oh, there it is. I know some of y'all just get irritated by the fact that I don't have a parts tray or whatever. I get it, man. I like to fly by the seat of my pants. That screw seems too long. I'm going to get that out of there. That seems like it's just a hair longer than the others, but maybe not. Come on, man. Golly. I worked on my son's knife today, and boy, was it challenging. Wow. I had to take it apart and reassemble it a couple of times. There we go. Okay. So that's all locked in there. Now I can put my pivot back. Get it lined up properly. There we go. And then I can do a bearing. And a little dibbity dabbity doodly. And a stop pin. Okay. Little blade. Let's pull that back, get that out of my way. Something happened there. Either the spring came off or it broke. I'm not sure which, but yeah, we got an issue. Houston, we have a problem. I felt it. I think it came out of the hole. It did come out of the hole. You dirty dog. Come on, man. Don't be doing that. It's going to force me to do it all again. Well, let me get it to that part, and then I'll come back in. Okay, we're up. We've got the other side on. Now I'm on this side here, and we're just about wrapped up. I'm going to put this spring on. Once I put this spring on, it tends to, it's not 100%, but it tends to kind of put everything in lockdown mode. There we go. Now I'm going to drop that stop pin in. Yep. And then I can lock that out. And everything looks to be lined up really well. I don't see any issues. So I'm going to drop my scale on, put my pivot screw. I think that's a T8. I am kind of curious to see if the extra tension on the springs takes that action from janky to reasonable. Because it was, I mentioned it felt a little gas station-y, you know? I mean, it was running well, and it made me curious if it was on washers, and sure enough it was. I mean, it helped. Yeah, definitely helped. It doesn't feel as sloppy, as loose as it did. And I'm guessing there's no play in it. It's tight. Wow. Well, let's get the rest of the screws in it. I've learned not to really assess things until you're finished putting them together. Right? We're almost there. I know it's a long video, but I don't know why, but this thing's hot. Todd was telling me about it. Like I think Walmart was selling them for $10. And people are selling them on eBay for $40 all day long. You know, hey man, things take off. They have a life of their own, right? I think. Let me see. Yeah, I think I need another T6. These are spinning, and I'm going to have to put them on lockdown. Let me get another T6 here. There's one. I probably can hold it. Yep. Actually, I'm gonna swap. There we go. All right. I mean, it is locked up solid and running much better. It just needed some tension on them springs, man. Wow. Okay. I mean, I'm going to put a little tension on this pocket clip. I can already see that it could take a bunch, so why not? Let's get some tension on it, because I just personally like a pocket clip. Here's how you do it. Just get it with a rag and some pliers and change that distance a little bit. That should be Bruce spring steel, so it should be able to easily take that without breaking. And, and of course you don't want to be too rough with it. You don't want to manhandle it. Pocket clip's recessed into the scale, and it's got 2 screws. So, I mean, I would expect it to work well, not have issues, as long as the screws stay tight. And they are going into that steel liner, whereas on the Bugout, they've got little Zerk inserts into the scale. That screw's not catching. One of these must be a longer screw, and that's why these aren't tight. Yeah, one of these are long. Which one is it? Is it this one? Nope. Must be this one. Let me put this one back in. I thought one of them was longer, but that's why those aren't tight, or are struggling to be really tight, because this one's got to be longer. Just slightly. Yeah, it is. Just the tiniest little bit, man. Like 2 or 3 threads. But that's going to allow it to catch here and thread. Yep. All day long. Wasn't a super mystery, right? And then this should snug right up. Yep. And this one should be good to go. Yep. All right. Golly. I mean, maybe I get it. Walmart should have been charging $40 all along for it. Maybe. Ergonomics are kind of weird. I'm not able to spidey flick it. There we go. It's just my fingers are positioned in a weird way. I also believe I can put the tiniest little bit of oil on this back of the blade because it's running on that shaft. I mean, that action's pretty solid, man. I mean, it's really good. I have to say that it's pretty darn good. I mean, you know what this is going to come down to? It's going to come down to, let me call this action. So the Spidey flick's kind of weird, so I'm going to take away for that. But because of that, I'm going to give it an A-. Because, man, is it good. I mean, as clutch, axis locks go, it's really good. The blade centered? Yeah. I mean, so it's got A action. The ergonomics, I mean, it's really comfortable in hand. It's got a good amount of jimping. here on the scales and the liners and the spine. So this whole area has got jimping in it. And then it's got like Hinderesque jimping in the right place down here. So there's some down on the back. And as a result, not so confident, confident, very confident. I mean, I'm going to run right up onto a confident grip with this little dude. And it's wider, so, I mean, and it's contoured. It's got contoured scales, and so it's very comfortable in hand. Good reverse grip. It's got a nice, cap the thumb. And I can get here. Now, I don't know if I do that on this cheap knife, budget knife. I mean, it's a $10 knife, so I can call it cheap, right? I don't know that I do that with a $10 knife, but all right, here we go. Fix stuff. Oh yeah, it's a dryer clip. Matter of fact, it's an F5 clip, and what that means, F5 tornado could rip these pants right off me, leave me butt naked, and take these pants through the tornado, drop them down 20 miles later, and the pants would be shredded and no longer on me, but this knife would still be in the pocket. Man, is it in there? It's got great tension now. And it's got a little bit poking out, maybe a little less than an eighth or a quarter of an inch, but very secure. This knife's going to be where you put it when you go looking for it. It's not going to move around in your pocket. Yeah, let's check it for safety. Yeah, there's no blade contact through the back, and the tip is recessed. So, I mean, the clip is good, the tip is good, and I am confident that as long as this knife is closed in the pocket, that I don't run any risks of catching any sharp parts. Yeah, perfectly safe to handle it as long as it's closed. Talking about sharp parts, D2. Yeah, I mean, yeah, what do you do? All right, so yeah, Benchmade people. I mean, I know that you're already going, yeah, it's not even a comparison. Here's what I'm going to have to say is if you're on a budget, this is very similar to this. It really is. And I get why people are wearing these out. I really do. Now, this one's nicer because I expanded those springs considerably and it changed its action. Prior to doing that, it just felt kind of janky. Well, the tension on those springs is such now that it doesn't feel that way anymore. It's locked up just as solid as this one. Just as solid. It's locked up. And I mean, so at an 18th of the price. No, wait a minute. It's less than that because a tenth of the price, let's say this is $120. Yeah, so an eighth of the price, 1/8, not a tenth, but less than a tenth of the price, you can have this. And so you could buy 10 of these to one of these. Now, nobody that's a Benchmade fan would, or Buy American fan would ever buy this because this is clearly a China knife. I had this conversation with somebody the other day, and so I'm going to regurgitate it. I'm not against China or the Chinese people, okay? The Chinese government, I mean, they're doing a lot of shady things that aren't necessarily pro-American, but, the common Chinaman, I'm pretty sure he ain't no different than me, man. He's just another squirrel trying to get a nut, right? And to really go down that road and say America is good, China is bad, I mean, you have to be talking about the government. So in that same category, I wonder how many people are pro USA on that level, like I'll never buy nothing from China. I wonder how many of them would say that they don't approve of what their government's doing. All the corruption and the graft and the ridiculousness in our own government, let alone the Chinese government. Our government officials are just as nasty as what you would find across the deep blue, in my opinion. So as far as the Chinese people, the guys that put this together, that are working, trying to feed their families or whatever, man, they ain't no different than me. Is trying to eat and get along, and they're underneath the thumb of a government. The fact that we're free and USA, all that, man, it's a fallacy. Do I live in the best country in the world? 100% I do. And I am for my country. I've served my country. All of those things, but to be down on China, clearly it's not the Chinaman, right? Like it's not, the common guy going to work, putting this knife together, trying to feed his 2 kids and love his old lady, do his thing. Like it's not about that dude, right? Well, pro America, like what? Because our government's so good? I mean, how many IRS agents do we have now? And, I mean, sorry for the rant, but it's not that big a deal to me. I mean, I get it, American jobs and all that, but whose fault is that? Is it the Chinamen's or is it our government, right? I'm not against Benchmade. It's a pretty nice knife, but I have gone way off the tracks, man. So, hey, I dig it, man. For $10, there's 10 of these to 1 of these. If I could pick, which one would I keep? I mean, I would keep the Bugout. But, I mean, if you can't afford a Bugout, this makes sense. Now, would I pay $40 on eBay for a $10 knife? Nah, I don't think I would do that. I would wait until I could buy it for $10 from Walmart or wherever. Yeah, so, all right, y'all. Hey, I appreciate you watching my pro-American rant, man. Hey, thanks for the stickers too, bro. Pretty cool. Appreciate y'all.